Hey, this is Gene with Yo-Yo on the Go. Today I'm replacing the seals on my Dometic SeaLand 3010 toilet in my 2003 Monaco Signature. What you see in the picture now is the base of the toilet that the actual China toilet sits on. Over there you'll see the control board. I've disconnected two parts of that, and the one that's the power cord, which is the gray wire you see with the two wire nuts on it. And the water hose, actually I didn't need to disconnect, which is there, right here. I'll just reconnect that. And see, one of those easy twist connectors on a piece of PEX. So we'll get that put back on there since I didn't need to remove it. But just above it you'll see a barb. And that barb is connected to a reinforced vinyl hose that goes to the bowl itself, and that's where this solenoid valve takes so much water come from the water supply up to the toilet bowl. And that's what flushes your toilet. The black things you see down here are the seals that need to be replaced. They're not holding water. They haven't been holding water, and I had a heck of a time finding the parts for it, and I'm hoping I have the right parts. I've got them here, and this is the part number. I actually got these from a place, from a marine store in St. Clair, Michigan, up on Lake Erie, I think it was. Anyway, near Detroit. So I'm going to replace these seals, try and put the toilet back together, and see how it goes. I'll post some more after I get these seals out and get the new ones. Well, I'll show you with the seals out and then with the seals in. Okay. So I've removed the foam seal, and what I found is this metal plate here is screwed down on top of the rubber seal. Really doesn't have any way to turn it except for sticking a screwdriver in these holes and spinning it, which it wasn't too hard to spin, but seems unusual. You must have some special tool, of course. But now I'm going to take and pull that out, endure the smell, and then replace that rubber seal underneath it there. And then we'll go from there. So, continuing with this rebuild of this toilet, this white part here removed, and I cleaned it up before I showed it to you because otherwise you're going to say that's gross. But it sets down in here on top of the ball, like so. Okay. I'm going to lubricate the surface of that and the ball with a thin coat of a lubricant, a heavy-duty lubricant. It's this poly. I don't know if you see that, but I can never get this thing to focus on words like that for some reason. But anyway, it's called Poly SI PST 599. And I'm going to lubricate those surfaces with that. And then I'll update you on the rest of the installation. After that goes in, then the flat rubber seal goes on there. And then there's a metal disc that screws down on top of it. And then you put your foam seal in there, and then you put your toilet back together. Okay, so now I've lubricated both that ball and this disc on the mating surfaces, and this does install like that with those fins up, and there's kind of like a flattish area that goes back towards the back that seals that side, I guess. It doesn't really seal it, but it's there, and then it sets down in there like that. From there, we'll be installing the black rubber gasket, and I will lubricate the edges of that also with that same sealant. And it does have instructions on it that says this side up, so you need to make sure you follow that instructions. It may be hard to read, but it's there. And then I also found on this foam gasket that it has this side up on it. And what I did with the foam gasket is I sprayed it with a silicone lubricant. It'll help make it more waterproof, so it doesn't absorb water. But I don't know if that's necessary, but I do a little overkill now and then. But we'll see how it all works out. But I'm going to put a little sealant or gasket, silicone or this lubricant on that rubber seal and then install it. And then this metal disc, which I've cleaned up also, screws down on top of it right there. Presses down on that rubber seal. And like I said before, the only way to twist that is with those holes there. So I'll tighten it up and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so you can see here I've installed that rubber gasket in there, and then I'm going to screw this ring down on top of it. I'm sure there's some torque spec to this, but being as is, I don't have the tool to do that 100% like it should be done, I suppose. I'm just going to go by feel. Alright, so now I've cleaned up the toilet base, the toilet, just put the seals in, new seals in. I'm ready to reinstall the toilet and reattach everything. Just no small feat. I don't think I mentioned the base itself is just held down by some screws in the base plate. There's just 4 of them. And then the bolt itself bolts down to the floor with some long leg bolts. I'll show you those as I'm putting them in. So I'm going to set the toilet back in place or close to it and start reattaching things, and then setting it back in place and try and get it bolted down. Okay, so now I've reconnected the water hose that pushes water up into the toilet. The other wires are kind of just laying in there, and I've got to pick it up and kind of set it on top of the foam seal and be ready to bolt it down and then wire it back up. Okay, so now she's all back in place, bolted down. I've reconnected the wiring. You can see the lights on the circuit board are all lit up, and it's operational. I turned the water back onto it and test fired it. It's probably the most difficult part of the project was getting the thing bolted back down. When you put it in, the whole toilet's sitting on top of that foam seal and it has to be compressed. Well, the only way to compress it is by the bolts down at the base, which are difficult to find the bolt holes in the floor. But I got it done, and I've test fired it, and she is filled with water. Very high level. I got a little trash in it. I've flushed it. And there goes a flush. Okay, now it's cleaned up the ball. That's good. But it's looking good so far. Probably one of the best toilets that Dometic SeaLand ever made, as far as I'm concerned. It has a feature where you can take and add water to the bowl by lifting up on the handle, and it flushes like a regular toilet just by pushing down on the handle. So if you have the one, I hope these videos help you with your endeavors to repair the seals on yours. And that's about the extent of this video. I'm going to put the little plastic caps back on the bolts. So I will seal the base of it just to keep anything from getting in underneath of the bowl at the front edge or at the edges. And that'll be the extent of it. Thanks for watching.